This is Umar for BoxNation. I'm joined by Frank Warren for the second time this week. Didn't think we'd be doing this, but a lot has gone on this week, and we'll all go through it um, gradually over this interview. But firstly, I'm sure you're absolutely thrilled. You guys announced last night you've extended your deal with Sela and Riyadh season. I know you said when this first came about, it's going to be game changing, Frank, what His Excellency is going to do, and it's certainly been that.
Yeah, it is, and we're very excited. It's been very exciting. It's been a brilliant, brilliant time, and we're moving forward for the next season onwards. And it's a brilliant time to be involved in boxing. Certainly, great times for Queensberry and also for the Riyadh season.
I think, yeah, we forget how short they've actually been in the game for, Frank. I'm talking about Sela and Riyadh season and how
Yeah,
many amazing events, world-class events they've delivered in a short space of time.
what's the impact that they've had on the sport? It's been a game changer, and like I said, it was at the beginning, but it's been great for the sport. There's no doubt about that. The pluses have been they've been phenomenal. All the guys making money. The fans are getting a lot of the fights that were being difficult to make, and there's great value on these shows, not because of the fantastic main events, but the brilliant undercards and all that goes with it.
What is it actually like working with His Excellency away from all the cameras?
It's good fun. He's got a very, very good sense of humour, which you've got to have in boxing, and he's very passionate about boxing. He's very passionate about all what we're collectively doing, and he's and he certainly loves the fighters. I mean, he's really clued up about it.
Okay, Frank. Of course, we had a fantastic presser the other day for Better BF Bivol, which we all can't wait for on October 12th. Not only because of the main event, but it's a stacked undercard with a lot of British interest as well. Like, I'm not going to go into what happened at the press conference, but we've seen statements from Chris Eubank Jr. and yourself, essentially both apologising. So, how did this all get resolved, Frank?
Well, it's the apology that he resolved because he was in a terrible position as regarded being sued by me. I'd already had a successful case against him in the past, which was which I won, and he had to pay substantial damages and costs for. And this was and this would probably go the same way, but it has been rectified. He's made an apology, and the reason I apologise because I said at the time that there's two ways for a fighter not to take a fight. One, that is you say I don't want to fight, and two, you price yourself out of it. And subsequently told me, I said to him that you've been offered, I think we started off 7 or 5 million. Well, you'd asked for that, you've been offered that, and for a fight against Hamzah, and you didn't want to know. You didn't want to know. And he looked at me and he said, "I've never been told it was that amount of money." I said, "Well, your connections had been." So I said, "If you didn't know that, then obviously, that's not down to me. That's down to people not giving you that, giving you the offer that was made." So I said, "So that's where we are. That's what happened."
But I guess we just move on from that, and he's going to fight on the Riyadh season bill October 12th.
He's fighting. He'll fight on the Riyadh season. He's made an apology, and that's the position at the moment. He's got his people and his advisors around him who I was unaware of. Who was advising him. That's it. That's his business.
Okay. But it all got rectified very quickly on that night.
Yeah, there was a lot of words were said. I mean, because I couldn't hear because where we were sitting on the platform, the speakers are in the front,
You
so
was
you
behind
don't
him. Yeah.
don't get it. You know what I mean? So you don't hear it. So I was behind, but I heard a couple of words, and then I heard because he turned. I don't know how he turned his head or whether, and I heard him make a reference to one of I think it might be Cali, and that was it. And then I think Eddie said he's called us this and whatever, but I'd never heard all of it. And I think it may be yourself who told me afterwards what had been said. So I can assure you, I wasn't too shy in telling him to his face and to his people who were with him, what I felt.
One positive actually you can take out of this, and I'm speaking to him later today to get his thoughts on it, is Hamzah Sheeraz, because has had a load of publicity off the back of this. That clip went viral, and his name was being mentioned in it.
Well, that was the fight we want to make, and we're very interested in making. So let's see what happens. And look, Hamzah Sheeraz is a star. Over the last what year, 18 months, he's got gained more and more publicity. His profile's risen, and we've put him in the right fights that have helped to do that. And he's done the business in the ring and done it in style. And he done it on a fabulous card last Saturday at Wembley. He put in a stunning performance. I mean, an absolute stunning performance. Against a fighter who was in form and winning fights, but he done a complete job on him, and that's great. He's doing this as Hamzah Sheeraz. Chris, when he turned pro, had the benefit of having his father's surname, which helped him.
Yeah. Well, talking about that event, which Hamzah shined on, of course, your man Daniel Dubois excelled on to the whole world. I know you were asked at that press conference about the article which literally came out on the Mail that day where we at, and you gave your initial reactions to it. As a couple of days have gone on now, your overall thoughts on what that article said from Simon Jordan, Frank?
Well, I responded it in the Mail today. There's a 2-page spread in the Mail today dealing with it. So I've said what I've had to say. I'm pleased with what's but it's not just that. A few of the other things that said, I just find that people think that boxing is an easy target. This boxing. We can say what we like about it, and then you look at what's going on in football, and you look at the overseas investments from various football clubs like my own team, Arsenal. Got the Emirates, Man City got Etihad, and they're owned by foreign owners. And the Premier League is probably the best football league in the world now, and there's a lot of foreign owners. Would we like them to be owned by British people? Yeah, maybe. I'm sure we would, but all the fans care about, to be quite honest, is their teams being successful, signing up players and being successful, and playing competitive football, and it's been a great situation. And if you look at people like if you look at Wimbledon, it's sponsored by the Emirates as well. The tennis is sponsored by the Emirates. You look at Old Trafford cricket, it's the Emirates as well. And there you've got Cowes Week sailing, it's sponsored by Abu Dhabi. You even got, I think at the moment, they're talking about Abu Dhabi maybe buying the Daily Telegraph, or they were certainly in discussions to buy it. And you wonder what some of the journalists, how they would have felt about that. Ascot Racing. Ascot, I think, is Dubai sponsored. And look at the horse racing industry. If it wasn't for certainly a lot of investment from the Middle East and foreign ownership, we may not even have a horse racing industry. But that's not just about sport. That's about business as a whole. And what happened last week, because of the Riyadh season investment, we put on this fabulous show and great fights, lots of British fighters involved in making good money. We made some good money out of it, but it generated great income everywhere. We got a message off the mayor's office saying thanks for what you've done, for the city this week. With the various events that we had, with a weigh-in, the Leicester Square with a red carpet, with the press conference at Guildhall. All iconic places, and there was no demonstrations there. There was no problems. Did you see anybody moaning about it? Not one single thing. And it was great, and it brought great attention to the capital. And more importantly, for the commercial side of it, besides the boxing and what everybody made from it, and I again include Queensberry myself, all the businesses, all the hotels, all the restaurants, all the bars. It generates a lot of money for British tourism and for the local economy. It's just fabulous, and I don't know anybody can knock it. Plus, you've got absolutely entertaining. People complain about or made reference to the plan of the Saudi national anthem. played before the British one. Well, first of all, they are the sponsors, and had we did this show, which was going to happen at one time in Saudi, then the British anthem would have been played first and then the Saudi last, because that's the protocol of national anthems. The host always is played last. In boxing, that's been the case over the years. I can go back to when I used to play the national anthem with the referee. And why we even, I know I'm talking about, but why are we even picking this all apart? When we're in boxing, we've had a great night's boxing. It's been brilliant. A star's been born in Daniel. That's what we should be talking about, not about all this other garbage where people are looking to find fault, where they're saying, oh, there was empty seats. Yeah, of course there were some small amount of empty seats because of sight lines. There's a canopy over the ring. You're sitting in those seats, you can't see inside the canopy. It's just ridiculous. And it's like, what? I thought you went there to see the boxing and report on the boxing, not, all this garbage, and how long did the national anthem last? Is it a minute? If that, that whole night, that whole fabulous night, why are we even going there with it? It's just, I just don't understand. And for me, if you went, I've not heard anybody complain about being at that show on Saturday.
No.
I haven't heard anyone. Maybe the traffic afterwards, which is, nothing. Honestly, that's nothing to do with us. But that's about it, getting out of it. But it was just a fabulous, fabulous sporting occasion. It was a brilliant sporting occasion. And it's just sad that people want to get stuck into this. And, Simon's got his opinion. He's entitled to it. I'm not, and I'm entitled to my opinion. You're entitled to yours, and the punters, the ticket guys who buy tickets, they're entitled to theirs. They want to say it's a crap show. That's their prerogative. They paid to watch it, and they're entitled to say what they like. But I'm entitled to defend it if I don't agree with it. He talks about foreign investment. He works with on TalkSport. TalkSport's owned by a foreign company. The parent company is under, I think it's listed on the New York Stock Exchange. It's Rupert Murdoch, who's not a British subject. So, but to me, the investment that's been made, TalkSport's a great platform. I think it's brilliant for sport. It's brilliant for us, for boxing. I love it. But if somebody's got something to say on there and we don't agree with it, then we're not going to just roll over.
Mm. Well, he said on that piece on TalkSport yesterday that he's got no problem with foreign investment, and he thinks what the Saudis have done for boxing is great. He just seems really, really offended. And you've talked about the national anthem being played there because it was disrespecting our culture and history. Those were
our culture is to play the national anthem of people who are involved in sport, and it's a big show. And that show was basically, the funding for that show came from Riyadh season. That's where it was basically underwritten, and it comes in the form of we are putting money, so we expect something for our money, and expect like when he was at Crystal Palace, you expect that the team wears the advertising on the shirts. I mean, years ago he had a Saudi Arabian sponsor for Crystal Palace, a logistic company, but that's it. But he did, and that's a fact. And I'm not knocking any of this. I'm just saying that if you've got a sponsor and they're putting the money in, then what you do, you will in our case, with their partners with us, we just announced our partnership. Our partners, we respect our partners, and their anthem got played. I haven't got to justify that. The British anthem got played afterwards. Our national anthem was played. The whole place sung it, enjoyed it, and that's as always happens in football matches. The host nation's anthem is played after the event.
Yeah, on the night itself, actually, I didn't see anyone have an issue with the anthem being played, and it was played in LA as well last month, and again there was no problem.
And as I say, if it had been in Saudi, it had been played in Saudi, and it was played in LA, and they were. But again, how much of this interview are we going to talk about national anthem? It's not about that. We should be celebrating what is happening. I'm delighted they're doing that, as they're doing in other sports. In football, in uh, equestrian events, in golf, tennis, and so forth. And that's it. What's wrong with that? Nothing wrong with that at all.
I don't know if you've seen Carl Froch's video today, but he basically agrees with everything Simon said,
In what way?
just about his article about Saudi, the show on Saturday.
Well, what's he saying? I haven't seen it. What's he actually saying?
He's said exactly the same thing about the national anthems and that you're selling your souls, you and Eddie, to the Saudis, etc.
Selling out. So I'll tell you something. The difference between him is like disrespect. What is his background, Carl? I mean, what is it? Is he from Europe? His family originally?
I believe he's got Polish origin.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Yeah. Well, we're a great country. We have opened our doors to people from all around the world, and we've done that. And you know, he's acting now or saying things which I think are quite irrelevant. I've not sold my soul to anybody. I don't get what he means by playing a national anthem and showing respect to people. I mean, he was quite disrespectful before about the culture and about of things that were said. But he's got to sell himself because he's out of it, isn't he? I mean, no one, at the end of the day, he's a total irrelevance as far as boxing's concerned. He has no input into boxing. All he does is sits there and bitch and slags off everybody, especially fellow pros, because he's always been a green-eyed monster. And now he's even slipped further down the pole because of the amount of tickets the game exceeded what he did with his show. And he keeps saying it's his show. He forgets that fight wouldn't happen if George Groves hadn't keep complaining and badgering and trying to force the issue with the relevant sanctioning body to make the return match because he didn't want it. If you remember, he forced the issue, Carl, against Carl Froch. And Carl keeps bitching about me, and he's been doing it for a long time. But the old Kawasaki Dodger, he is what he is. You can't change history, Carl. You know what happened when we was in that hotel when you sat down with your advisor. I'm going to be pretty crude here. Your arsehole completely drops out when it came to Joe Kawasaki. Everybody knows that. And one person that really does know it is you. You didn't want to fight.
Okay. Last one from everything yesterday, Frank. Jim White did ask Simon on air, are you sure you're not biased towards Ben Shalom and Boxer because you've got a financial interest in it and you're kind of more favourable to them than Queensberry or Matchroom? He categorically said, Simon, that he's got no financial stakes or interest in Boxer. I know you and Eddie have not said that outright, but you've hinted at it. So what do you think of that?
That's what he says. That's what he says.
Okay. Do you believe it?
Why would he tell lies?
Okay, moving on from that. Eddie was on I believe it was on TalkSport, yes, yesterday, and he said that, he's had conversations with His Excellency. I'm sure you've been party to that as well, about Anthony, saying he wants to make the rematch with Daniel Dubois next. His Excellency, he said that he wants that as well next. So is that the direction we're heading into if the terms are good for you and Daniel?
The terms are correct, then it'd be a no-brainer for us to do that fight.
What do you think, that's another Wembley Stadium show or maybe in Riyadh,
Yeah.
Frank?
Yeah. Where it takes place, I don't know at this stage, but they are cool. It is the Riyadh season. They do want fights there. I don't know yet, but the terms would have to be agreed first. So the most important thing first, listen, we're in the Daniel Dubois business, and Daniel's got to be compensated for being what he is now, which is the champion and the probably one the most dangerous heavyweight out there on that performance.
Do you think he can do an even better job on Anthony next time?
I think he's got his number. I think he had his number from the very first round. But he's got people around him. We'll see see whether whether they think they can find a clue. Who knows? Who knows? It's interesting times.
Last one to close off. Next week, we're moving to a big fight week for yourself and Nick Ball's homecoming, Frank. He's had a spectacular run. When you talk about, stars born out of Riyadh season, he's certainly been one of them. And I know the journey you and Nick Ball have been on. Like he's done it the hard way, and then he's definitely been robbed in that fight that he had. His first shot at the world title, and he did spectacularly against Ray Ford in his second world title attempt, and he gets to defend it against Ronnie Rios next Saturday.
He does. It's in his hometown. He's got a homecoming. I know. I mean, it's gone really well, the show, and he's a tremendous fighter. I mean, he showed what he's all about, and he grabbed his opportunity, presented him from the Riyadh season with both hands, and to show that we're about the UK and about the English fighters or British fighters, and putting shows on over here. He's got his homecoming fight at Liverpool. It's going to be a brilliant night. Some of the best young talent from the Northwest are fighting now.
Absolutely. Listen, Frank, I do appreciate your time all week. It's like the third time I've caught up with you. I promise I'll let you be till next week.
I'll see you next week, my son.
Cheers, Frank. Take care.